Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here for your WrestleMania 34 preview and predictions. We're here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be talking everything about WrestleMania 34. It is going to be a daunting task, to say the least, and I'm going to explain to you guys the way this is going to work. This is going to be split into part 1 and into part 2 because this is such a big show that covering all of it and everything that's going to happen on here and all my predictions and all my previews and everything that I think is going to happen going into the future and the quality of Raw and Smackdown going into WrestleMania 34, all that crap that I need to get through for each and every single matchup on this show. It's just going to be way too long for one video. It's probably going to go like an hour and 50 minutes, and there's no way in hell I'm going to put out a video that's an hour and 50 minutes. So this is going to be split into two parts. We're going to talk about some of the big matches here, like John Cena versus The Undertaker, like you're seeing right there. The Intercontinental Championship matchup. We're going to do probably Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar here. And then we're going to go to part 2, so you guys can tune into that one because nobody really cares as much about the small matches. So if I just do all the small matches in the beginning and then get to the big matches in the second part, it's not as video worthy, you know? It's not as watchable for people who, of course, want to watch both parts, but think it's too long. So we're going to spread it out nice and even, right? 2 big matches here, 2 big matches there, or 3 big matches here and 3 big matches there. And everybody's going to watch all the videos, and I'm going to get all the watch time, and I'm going to laugh like Ted DiBiase when everything goes my way. Okay, let me stop. This is your WrestleMania 34 preview and predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we're going to be talking everything about WrestleMania, and what we're going to be talking about here, let me just decide myself very quickly. Of course, we're going to be doing the build to WrestleMania 34 and the quality of Raw and Smackdown going into WrestleMania 34. Those are 2 things that we're going to be doing in this video, are going to be out of the way in the next video. We're going to be talking Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Undertaker and John Cena, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, the Intercontinental Championship Triple Threat, and I'm not sure what other matches we're going to do. In the next video, I know for sure we're going to do AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar, or AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. We're going to do Ronda, Kurt, Triple H, and Stephanie, and we're going to do Asuka and Charlotte as the 3 big matches there. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be talking about the beginning of the show and the pre-show as well here. So this is going to be a daunting video. Get ready for it. We're talking everything going into WrestleMania 34. If you missed the build to WrestleMania 34, if you barely watched Raw and SmackDown, if you just want to recap to gather your minds going into this big show on Sunday, because there's a lot to talk about and there's a lot to look at, and you just want to refresh your mind as to everything that happened. I've been encapsulating it within my brain, unfortunately, because there's been some bad stuff on this build, but I've been encapsulating everything that's gone on in this build, and we're going to be talking about it all right here today on the preview and predictions video for WrestleMania 34. This is part 1, of course, but before we get into everything that we're going to discuss here, of course, I want to tell you guys to make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Of course, that is because there is so much other content to go check out on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. We're giving you 2 parts, not 1, but 2 videos in the same day, of course, for your preview and predictions for WrestleMania. That's content in and of itself right there, but you want more than that? Just this past week, Raw and SmackDown reviews were uploaded. Your go-home shows to WrestleMania. All your storylines were wrapped up with a nice little bow. Make sure to go check that out, as well as to go check out the Behind the Mic that was uploaded. That was episode number 60 just this past weekend. Behind the Mic episode number 61, where we're probably going to be talking a lot of things regarding WrestleMania. I already know one of the news stories on there is going to be Rusev and Rusev Day asking for his release from the WWE. What's the deal behind that? So that's just a little bit of a teaser for what we're going to be talking about on Behind the Mic episode number 61 this weekend on Saturday, as well as to await your NXT TakeOver New Orleans preview and predictions coming on Friday, and your NXT TakeOver review and results coming on Saturday after that show goes off the air. And of course, then you have the big pay-per-view, the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania 34, where I'm still trying to think what's going to be the format. Are we going to be doing a face cam format? That is all a question on my mind that I have right now, but that is besides the point, because for now we're going to go straight into the WrestleMania 34 preview and predictions. Make sure to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel if you enjoy what you're hearing here. If you went and checked out all the other content and you enjoyed what you heard there. If you like me, if you dislike me, click on that like button, click on that dislike button, and of course, make sure to comment what your thoughts on each and every single match here. What are your predictions? Leave them in the comment section below, because you have an opinion just as much as I do, and you can voice it in the comment section below. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go straight into the preview and predictions for WrestleMania 34, and I'm going to start off by talking about the quality of Raw and Smackdown, as well as the build to WrestleMania 34 going into WrestleMania. And I mean, I've been saying this for weeks. Smackdown was really held back for much of the build to WrestleMania because of the fact that they were restricted by Fastlane, which pretty much left them 3 or 4 weeks to build towards this pay-per-view. So we were building towards a meaningless pay-per-view that realistically nobody cared about, with feuds and matches that nobody wanted to see, and it was an unnecessary pay-per-view. Instead of putting on a pay-per-view-esque Smackdown Live with championship matches and things of that nature, WWE instead decided to give us a pay-per-view, which is a roadblock to WrestleMania and does not allow Smackdown Live to build and give us that exciting storyline that we want and need to see going into WrestleMania 34. So for 3 or 4 weeks, SmackDown Live was very limited for what they can do at WrestleMania 34. The thing that happened that really picked up the pace on SmackDown Live was, of course, the return of Daniel Bryan that Tuesday. I believe it was 3 weeks ago at this point. Yes, 3 weeks ago at this point. The return of Daniel Bryan really shook things up, and it made everybody excited for WrestleMania 34, because this was going to be a big event. This is not only an event where we're going to be seeing John Cena versus The Undertaker. This is not only an event where we're going to see the dream match of AJ and Nakamura, the conclusion of the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns scenario, which, I mean, whatever. But it's also where we're going to see the return of Daniel Bryan. So it brought WrestleMania from having a very good card that I was very interested in to something that was unmissable. This is going to be an unmissable moment, is Daniel Bryan returning for SmackDown Live, or to in-ring competition at WrestleMania 34. And that episode of SmackDown really kicked things off and set us on course for WrestleMania. Everybody was excited, and it improved the quality of SmackDown going into WrestleMania. But as far as the Royal Rumble to Fastlane goes, SmackDown was absolutely abysmal. We didn't even get anything too notable last night on the Go Home show. That brings us to Monday Night Raw, which realistically, if there's a way to describe the way Monday Night Raw has been handled on the way to WrestleMania, it's simply enough by saying that these shows have been hit or miss. We've either been seeing some things that were exciting and some things that we wanted to see and they were entertaining, or we've been given absolute filth, and it's a 3-hour show that you cannot wait to be over. You are begging and pleading for this show to be goddamn over. And that's the way Monday Night Raw has really been as of late. There weren't really, and I went on this rant on the Go Home show this past Monday on my Monday Night Raw review for an extended period of time, that Monday Night Raw and most of their feuds have failed to invest us into these WrestleMania matches. Besides the John Cena feud, which John Cena has done an excellent job at building up through his promos, even despite the lack of having The Undertaker there, because John Cena's just that damn good. Besides that, nothing that we've seen on Monday Night Raw has really come across as groundbreaking and exciting and investing going into WrestleMania. They got a lot of matches that people are interested in, sure. Cena versus Undertaker, Rousey, Angle, McMahon, and Triple H. You got the Triple Threat Intercontinental Championship match. The interesting thing that you got going on with the Bar and Braun Strowman. Those are some interesting matches. No doubt about it, and they're going to make for a good card. But WWE has failed to get us invested in those storylines building up to those matches. And half the match, half the element that we are excited for of these matches is gone. So the show, I know it's going to be great. It's going to be a great show. You look at this card, Styles Nakamura, Cena Taker, even though I don't think that's going to be the best in-ring matchup at all. But Cena Taker, the Intercontinental Championship Triple Threat, New Day, Bludgeon Brothers, and the Usos. You got that. You got just a bunch of crap scattered around that's going to create some great matches. But half of the element for most of those matches is missing there. And that element that I speak of is the investment in these storylines. What brings matches in NXT, and we're going to be probably mentioning NXT a lot since they do the storylines right, at least when I'm talking about this, but NXT, the reason that a matchup like the Velveteen Dream and Aleister Black was so great last year going into, what was that takeover? Toronto? I'm not even sure what takeover that was. Whatever takeover that was, the reason that takeover was great, Houston, that was the takeover, I believe. But the reason that matchup was so fantastic was that we were invested in the storyline, and it brought everything that they did in that ring to the next level. Same thing just earlier this year at the NXT TakeOver Philadelphia pay-per-view with Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas. The reason that was so fantastic, despite the things that they were doing in the ring, which is clearly amazing as well, but what brought that match from great to amazing was the storyline, the investment we had in Johnny Gargano winning the NXT Championship, the reaction that we had to each and every single near fall, each and every single time that Johnny Gargano hit a big move, each time that Andrade Cien Almas hit a big move. The reason we were so invested in that is because of the storyline, and WWE seems like they've just assembled this card and they're putting it together and they're saying, look, the card is shiny, you got what you want. And they pretty much put no effort into building storyline going in to WrestleMania 34. And another thing you got to notice there is that WWE only puts an effort into the storylines that they actually care about. The storylines which have to do with their initiative. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns gets U.S. Marshals coming out for him. Roman Reigns gets to curse. Roman Reigns gets to do all this crap that nobody else gets to do. He gets to take his storyline to the heights that nobody else gets to take it to, because it's clear and it's evident that WWE cares more about that storyline than any other storyline on this show. Same thing with Cena and Taker. It's John Cena and The Undertaker. So WWE is allowing that storyline to unhinge the hinges, pretty much. And that's something that realistically they should be doing for every storyline, because you know these guys are talented, and you know most of these guys can take it to you when it comes to on the microphone and pitching ideas for their storylines, instead of being limited to this mediocre crap that we have been gifted to. It's really ridiculous, and those are my thoughts on that. WWE, like they do every year with WrestleMania, has failed to invest us in these storylines, and that really is a tragedy in and of itself, because these are great matches, but we're going to have half the care and we're going to have half the reaction to these matches that we should, because we are not invested in what's going on. And that's something that's very important and that has been sincerely forgotten going into WrestleMania 34. So those are my thoughts on the quality of Raw and SmackDown Live. Like I said, Raw has been hit or miss. SmackDown, coming out of Fastlane, took a turn for the better, but we still had those 2 months of purgatory that did not allow us to get to the WrestleMania build, and that really affected what we're seeing now. for now, we go straight into the first matchups here on this video, and we're going to start off by, of course, talking about the pre-show matches on this show. WWE did announce what the pre-show matches would be for the show on Monday Night Raw, and I agree with having the Women's Battle Royal, and I agree with having the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on this pre-show, just to talk about this pre-show a little bit. But having Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander booted off of the main show instead of showcasing 205 Live for what you have made it, for the hard work that Triple H has put into this brand with that fantastic tournament that we've seen from 205 Live, the fact that it has been booted from the main show instead of bringing those casual eyes that you know you're going to get on the WrestleMania show. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this show. There really, really is. You cannot deny that. There's going to be a lot of eyes that usually don't watch the WWE product every year. Everybody's going to be watching WrestleMania. And this could be a chance for people to see Cedric Alexander and see Mustafa Ali in the middle of that ring and say, holy crap, who are those guys? They are great at what they do. I want to see more of them. They'll go out of their way, at least some people, to watch 205 Live on the WWE Network. It will attract eyes to that show. It will give that show the rub that it so rightfully deserves. But instead, WWE boots it onto the pre-show, and instead of having a crowd of 80,000 people watching this show, it's going to be people filing into the arena, and it's going to be 20,000 people watching Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. That's not fair. That's really not fair to those guys. On top of that, nobody cares about the pre-show. Last year during the WrestleMania 34 pre-show, or 33 pre-show, I was out getting my pizza ready, ordering that from Papa John's. That's what I was doing. I was not watching the pre-show. I had a keen eye on it, but my phone was dying and I didn't really care. I saw half of the Austin Aries Neville matchup until, of course, I went back and watched it later on the next day. That's what happened there. So as far as WWE goes, with this bullshit of putting Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali on the pre-show instead of putting them in front of the eyes that they deserve to be in front of, is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm going to talk to you here about the matchup that should have been on the pre-show in place of this one, because WWE has done an absolutely awful job at booking it. We're going to talk about that, but of course, we start off with the first matchup here, and it is the Women's Battle Royal. Thank God this got put on the pre-show. I definitely agree with WWE's decision to put this matchup on the pre-show. It had no place on the main card besides what I mentioned in a video all of you should go check out, by the way. It was uploaded last week around this time on Wednesday, I believe, or Thursday. I'm not sure what day it got uploaded, but it's a video with me laying out the match order of WrestleMania 34, the way WWE should book the match order of this show. I think all of you should go check that out, because that's another key element to WrestleMania 34 and the way it should be booked. But that is besides the point. We are talking about the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, and I believe that the only purpose it would have had on the main show is to serve as a buffer before the main event, because realistically, if the match order of the show goes Asuka, Charlotte, Ronda, Kurt, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon, Daniel Bryan, I can't even remember these names. Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. You follow that with Cena, Taker. You follow that with Roman, Brock, and then you end off, which I don't think WWE is going to do, by the way. You end off with Shinsuke Styles. By the time we get to Shinsuke Styles, if there's no break there for the crowd to pretty much hold their breath in a matchup that they're not going to care about, being this WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, they don't get a chance to do that. They're going to be burnt out by the time we get to Styles and Nakamura. They're going to be burnt out by the time we get to Cena, Taker, with the layout that I laid out right there. So I use this as a buffer in that video right before the main event. And WWE could say they put the women right before the main event. They were headlining WrestleMania, right? WWE did not decide to do that. This is on the pre-show, and you know what? I don't mind it. I don't care about this matchup anyways, and I was just proposing this in that position, so it can be a matchup for people to hold their breath. But whatever, it's on the pre-show. I feel like two battle royals on the pre-show is a little bit daunting, but it's not like anybody cares about this matchup anyways. So it was the women's battle royal, and that's going to be on the pre-show. And I mean, who cares? Who cares? Anybody can win this matchup. I think you should use it to give the rub maybe to a Sasha, a Bayley, a Becky, and it's absolutely disgraceful that those names that I just mentioned, Naomi as well, are on the pre-show of WrestleMania and not on the main show, because those are names, especially Sasha and Bayley for that Raw Women's Championship, like I have not been shy to mention, those are names that should be on the WrestleMania main show, no doubt about it. But that was not the case. They're on the pre-show, and I believe that this WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal is probably going to be centered around the feud of Sasha and Bayley. That's the only thing that's really been confirmed here, or built up to as far as Raw goes for this WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. I don't know what WWE is going to do regarding that. But as far as who wins this goes, I would give it to a Becky. I'd have Sasha and Bayley eliminate each other from this battle royal and give it to a Becky Lynch. Give the rub to Becky. Have her come out of WrestleMania maybe into a title shot because she won the battle royal against Asuka, who's going to be the Smackdown Women's Champion after WrestleMania. I think that would be great booking right there. Why don't you put that stake on the line? Whoever wins the battle royal challenges for the women's title of their brand after WrestleMania. Then it would actually mean something. But no, the trophy, let me tell you, the trophy for this goddamn for this goddamn battle royal. I don't even know what the hell it's called. I can't even think here. But the trophy for this battle royal looks like a goddamn inverted vagina. I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever where the hell they got that trophy from. It looks like you can win a better looking trophy in a JV high school volleyball game. No. They put that trophy, and they made that trophy for one of the biggest wrestling companies in the world. The biggest wrestling company in the world at WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year. You gotta be kidding me. And the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy, speaking of that, it gets smaller every year. It started off huge. Now, a guy like Baron Corbin towers over the trophy. The trophy used to be a little bit taller than him back when he won it. Now he towers over it. And you compare that to the trophy that we seen for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic on NXT. That trophy looks good. That looks like a real trophy that I want to win. Looking at these trophies, I want to eliminate myself from the Battle Royal. I would eliminate myself from avoiding the embarrassment of holding those goddamn trophies. But that is besides the point. I think this Women's Battle Royal is going to be centered around Bayley and Sasha. It's either they're going to be the final two competitors, and that's the way WWE is going to say that they gave us Sasha and Bayley at WrestleMania. Either that, or they're going to eliminate themselves, and you're going to have like a Becky Lynch win it, or whoever the hell they want to win it. Could honestly be a wild card. But hopefully they do center it around Sasha and Bayley, so Sasha and Bayley can get something prominent at WrestleMania, even if it's on the pre-show. We move on to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Oh, this matchup looks absolutely god-awful. You put Matt Hardy in this matchup. You have a bunch of jobbers, and then you have Matt Hardy, who 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, or however many weeks ago it was main eventing Monday Night Raw with the Ultimate Deletion. He goes from that to this, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. You've got to be kidding me with this one. This is absolutely useless. It does not matter who wins. What has the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal done for the winner in the past? Absolutely squash. Absolutely squash. Baron Corbin won it. What did it do for him? Nothing. Cesaro won it. What did it do for him? Nothing. He's not even a singles competitor anymore. He's in the tag team division with Sheamus. It did nothing for him. He was the inaugural winner. Who won it at WrestleMania 31? I don't even remember who won it at WrestleMania 31. Was it Cesaro? I don't even know. WrestleMania 33, Mojo Rawley. Where's Mojo Rawley now? I beg the question. In the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal again. He didn't even move up the card, and he was the winner from last year. Same thing with Baron Corbin. He was the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 32. He's in the Battle Royal again. So that just goes to prove in and of itself that the Battle Royal means nothing, because winning it doesn't even move you up the card. So I have no idea what WWE is going to do here. There's been rumors that WWE was planning to make the pre-show, or the pre-show Battle Royal, yeah, that's what it should be called, but that they were planning to make the Battle Royal bigger this year because HBO is, of course, doing the documentary on Andre the Giant, so it would make sense for a big name to win it. There were rumors of Goldberg, Batista. I mean, you got to be kidding me with that one right there. I say have Elias enter this Battle Royal. Have Elias enter this Battle Royal, just to briefly cover what Elias should be doing at WrestleMania, because he's not booked. But win this Battle Royal, and then have him have 2 WrestleMania moments, because he'll perform later in the night, and you can do a segment with The Rock or multiple legends, HBK, Mick Foley, Stone Cold, like you did at 32. Maybe have Kid Rock, a celebrity, come out and have a moment with Elias, and you move on from there. Elias wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and performs in front of 80,000 people. He has a big WrestleMania, and he doesn't even have to be in a quote-unquote official match. I say that's how you do it right there. It's pretty much confirmed that Elias is going to be doing something at WrestleMania, because John Cena, of course, said it. He says in his promo, he was like, I'm excited for Rusev Day. I'm excited for Styles and Nakamura. I'm excited for all the women's matchups, not just one, but all of them, because they're making history. They're proving that gender does not determine the level of success you can have in the WWE, blah, 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 blah. And he also mentioned, I'm excited to see whatever Elias is going to be doing at WrestleMania. So that pretty much confirms that hopefully Elias will be in a prominent role at WrestleMania 34. It could be through a performance. I'm thinking it's going to be through a performance. There was a news article that said that it was planned for The Rock to come out and interrupt Elias, but that was canceled because of beef between John Cena and The Rock, since The Rock would be able to promote his movie. We talked about this heavily on Behind the Mic, so make sure to go check out Behind the Mic. But as far as who wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, I'm saying Elias can use it. I don't know. Who else? Who else could win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? Mojo Rawley again? Gotta be kidding me with that one. Have Matt Hardy win it for all we know. Have Matt Hardy win it and do something like that. Have Bray Wyatt return in the Battle Royal and interfere Matt Hardy. I don't know. Matt Hardy should win it. I don't know. But I say give it to Matt Hardy. We move on here to, of course, the Cruiserweight Championship matchup. Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. This tournament has been absolutely fantastic on 205 Live from the matches that I've seen that have been going on 205 Live recently. I didn't watch the full tournament because watching 5, 6, 7 hours of WWE programming every week is absolutely a daunting task. But that is besides the point. From what I have seen of this tournament, fantastic matches each and every single week on 205 Live. Clearly, I still have an issue with the positioning on 205 Live on the card, because, of course, 205 Live is putting on some great, or the 205 Live show in and of itself, on the way it's booked, on the day that it's booked, and the position that it's booked, if I could get the right wording here. But after Smackdown Live, the crowd is dead. You've seen your AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode. Why is the crowd going to pop for these guys who they do not know about? And they don't. They're dead by then. They don't care about Mustafa Ali or Cedric Alexander. This is your opportunity to prove that. WWE fails at that. Hopefully, some petition gets started. Last year, a petition got started to move the SmackDown Women's Championship match from the pre-show, and it ended up being second to last on the card. That was a buffer before the main event. So hopefully Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander can get the rightful spot that they deserve on the show of starting WrestleMania and having everybody and their eyes on WrestleMania 34 and the Cruiserweight division, and hopefully they can revive that Cruiserweight division. But I don't think it's happening. As far as who wins here, I think it's going to be Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander has been long overdue a Cruiserweight Championship match, or a Cruiserweight Championship title win on 205 Live in the Cruiserweight tournament that introduced the Cruiserweights to WWE. If I can remember the name, the Cruiserweight Classic. Holy crap, I'm out of it right now. I feel like shit right now. I am suffering from a cold, of course. This is a great time to be suffering from a cold before WrestleMania, but that is besides the point, because I think that Cedric Alexander coming out of the Cruiserweight Classic was one of the hottest cruiserweights. That matchup with Kota Ibushi that he had, you put that on the main event of Monday Night Raw, there's no way that will not get over. You put this on the main event of WrestleMania, or to start WrestleMania, holy crap, you put this to start WrestleMania, there's no way that is not getting over. But that is besides the point. I think Cedric Alexander is going to win. He was one of the hottest cruiserweights. You had people chanting, "Please sign Cedric," after he got eliminated from the tournament. Triple H had to come out and take this guy to the back. He's long overdue a Cruiserweight Championship win. He's been overshadowed, unfortunately, this is the case, by the likes of Enzo Amore being a Cruiserweight Champion. But, of course, it is now his time. Mustafa Ali, he's been great in the ring as well. I think he will get his time one day as well. But I think WrestleMania 34 is Cedric Alexander's time. That was it for the pre-show, at least from what WWE has announced to be on the pre-show. It is a goddamn 2-hour pre-show starting at 5 o'clock, which, real quick, brings me to another issue here tonight on your WrestleMania 34 preview and predictions, is how long is this goddamn show going to be? We're going to be in for a 7-hour goddamn show. And I am absolutely terrified to even figure out how I will be feeling. By the time that show is over, I'm going to be completely blown out from watching wrestling. I'm trying to refrain from watching any more wrestling this week. I've been going back and watching old WrestleMania moments. I think I got to cut that the hell out, because listen to the amount of wrestling I'm going to be watching this week. It's 3 hours of Raw. It's 2 hours of Smackdown, which adds up to 5. I just watched 1 hour of NXT before doing this preview and predictions right here. So that's 6 hours right there in and of itself. Then you have 2.5 hours probably of NXT TakeOver New Orleans on Saturday. That's what, like 7.5 hours at that point, if I can do math here. That's 8.5 hours. God damn. And then it's going to be 2 hours of a WrestleMania pre-show. That's 10.5 hours. And 5 hours of a main show. WrestleMania last year finished at 12 a.m. So it's going to be interesting to see the time that this show ends and how I'm going to be feeling by the time this show is goddamn over. I'm going to be interested to see how this show is even going to hold up for everybody watching it. So, I mean, that is a big problem that WWE has, and that's a problem that I was trying to address in the way I would order WrestleMania 34, as far as people and the crowd itself in New Orleans getting burnt out by everything that we're going to see on this show. For now, we move on to the first matchup that we're going to be talking about here on the main show, and we're going to be talking about the Bar versus Braun Strowman and his partner to be announced. So clearly I will be covering the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship match in the next video here on your WrestleMania 34 preview and predictions, and the part 2, I guess you can call it. But as far as this matchup goes, I think that WWE has done the right thing, at least by not announcing the partner of Braun Strowman until WrestleMania 34. I really believe that there's only one person when it comes to talking about who Braun Strowman's partner is going to be at WrestleMania 34, and that, of course, is Samoa Joe. There's been rumors of it being the Big Show, of it being Kane. That sounds absolutely god-awful, not just to me, but I know it sounds awful to a lot of you watching this video, but that's something that's been rumored. There's also been rumors of who else has been rumored? Of it being James Ellsworth, WWE bringing James Ellsworth back to the team with Braun Strowman. Clearly, they teased that it was going to be Kurt Hawkins, who hasn't won a match in God knows how long on WWE television. Braun Strowman threw him through a goddamn wall. That was absolutely hilarious. There's been rumors that it's going to be Braun Strowman by himself. They even teased that on Monday Night Raw this past Monday when Braun Strowman came out as Brains Strowman, and Corey Graves was hilariously fooled. That was absolutely hilarious by Braun Strowman. I love the way Corey Graves showed us his comedic presence in that moment, but that is besides the point. I think that Braun Strowman is going to be teaming with Samoa Joe is going to be a tag team that cannot be beaten by any other team. The only thing that's going to beat that tag team is Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe themselves imploding and going into a huge matchup, maybe even at SummerSlam this year. That would be a huge matchup, Strowman and Joe at SummerSlam. I'd like to see that. The explosion of this Mega Powers tag team. I'm sorry, I was just watching WrestleMania 5 earlier today, but that is besides the point. I mean, as far as Braun Strowman, let me just give you my thoughts on the build a little bit. As far as Braun Strowman winning that Battle Royal and demolishing that entirety of the tag team division, throwing everybody out single-handedly, I cannot give less of a crap. I mean, you think about it, and WWE's tag team was dead to begin with. They buried the Revival. They buried Gallows and Anderson with everything that they've done. They've buried Rhino and Slater. Who cares about them at all? Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil. Titus Catering. They're in the back. They're busy during WrestleMania. They don't have matches at WrestleMania. That's preposterous. Titus O'Neil's too busy cooking in the back. Well, what's he making for WrestleMania? Is he making a special WrestleMania cake? Find out in the backstage segment on WWE 24 for WrestleMania 34. We're going to find out. I can't wait till that one comes out. Anyways, that is besides the point. Samoa Joe should be the partner of Braun Strowman. I think Samoa Joe should win the Universal Championship. I'm out of it, bro. The Raw Tag Team Championships with Braun Strowman. But from the way WWE has booked things for an event that's happening later on in April on WWE Network, I hope, is the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. And a matchup that was confirmed for that show, there's apparently going to be 7 championship matches, not including the women's belts, because the women aren't allowed to compete in Saudi Arabia. Talk about history that they made in Abu Dhabi earlier this year, I believe, or in 2017, late 2017. They're not going to be allowed to do that in Saudi Arabia. But as far as those championship matchups go, you would believe that the Raw Tag Team Championships would be one of the championships defended on that big Saudi Arabia WWE Network special, hopefully. And it lists Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Hardys. So that not only rumors a broken Hardys tag team after WrestleMania, which, quite frankly, Matt Hardy needs at this point. It also teases that Cesaro and Sheamus are going to retain. So I don't see Cesaro and Sheamus beating a team of Samoa Joe and Braun Strowman on their first night out as a tag team. So I think Braun Strowman's probably going to go at it alone. I'm not sure what WWE is going to do, or he's going to go at it with somebody who's going to be a non-factor to the matchup, and they will get pinned. So I have no idea what WWE is going to do here, but it looks like Cesaro and Sheamus are retaining the Raw Tag Team Championships after seeing that card for the show WWE is going to have the 50 Greatest Man Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. So it did say card is subject to change. Maybe they're treating this like a indie house show type thing where you can change the card based on what happens on WWE television. But I'm not sure. That's what's advertised. Could that be a spoiler for this Raw Tag Team Championship matchup? I fully expect Braun Strowman to win here. I don't see Braun Strowman taking the L on WrestleMania. The Bar have been tag team champions now for God knows how long. Or it feels like that because they've been on and off champions. They're like 3 or 4 time tag team champions now. So I think Braun Strowman and his partner, hopefully Samoa Joe, are going to win the match against the Bar. Ooh, a possibility that just popped up on my screen here after looking at the preview and predictions for the CBS Sports on their WrestleMania card on this website. They say Neville should be the partner of Braun Strowman. That sounds awesome. That sounds absolutely awesome. I would be down for that as well. Neville, a returning Neville, would be fantastic, or Samoa Joe. Those are the 2 picks I have right there. But we move on here to, what do we move on here? Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. No, we're covering Asuka versus Charlotte, just to have symmetry here. Let's go to The Miz versus Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. This feud realistically has not been highlighted as much as it should. This is probably going to be one of the best matches on WrestleMania 34. This is one of those dark horse matches, which not a lot of people are thinking about. I'm glad that the Intercontinental Championship is actually making the main show this year. Last year, as we all know, it was on the goddamn pre-show, which is an absolute disrespect to the Intercontinental Championship and its lineage. But as far as discussing the build to this matchup goes, I feel like WWE has done some things right on the build to this matchup and some things wrong. One of the things that they have done awfully wrong is that they have made Seth Rollins and Finn Balor more snickering bullies to The Miz in every Miz TV segment that they've been in, which feels like far too many than should have been booked. But there were like 3 Miz TV segments between these 3 guys, and you had one of them with the Miz Taraj teasing to break up from The Miz, and then it's Seth Rollins and Finn Balor trying to provoke it, and they're snickering, and then it's The Miz, another one was The Miz trying to turn these 2 guys against each other, and then they're snickering and saying, oh, you really think this is going to work? And then they actually turn against each other. The best parts of this feud are when Finn Balor and Seth Rollins turn against each other, and they show that aggression against each other, and they fight each other in the middle of that ring, because that resembles an actual Intercontinental Championship feud. At this point, I'm absolutely sick and tired of seeing The Miz with the Intercontinental Championship. It feels like he's had it on and off for like 3 years now. It's time you get that championship off of him, and it's time you give it to a guy like Finn Balor. That is my prediction to win this matchup. It is quite frankly the most logical. I think after WrestleMania, we're going to be going towards a draft or a superstar shakeup of some sorts. I say you move Seth Rollins over to Smackdown Live, make him the top guy on Smackdown Live. Shinsuke Nakamura, Seth Rollins, that's a matchup I would be willing to see. But you have the Finn Balor win the Intercontinental Championship, and you do whatever the hell you want. You have him defended as a babyface against all the guys who line themselves up. If you have a superstar shakeup, you can do Finn Balor versus AJ Styles for the championship. You can do Zayn and Owens versus Finn Balor for the championship. You can do Elias versus Finn Balor for the championship. You can do a bunch of crap. If you turn him heel, you can even do even more crap. You can have Braun Strowman versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship, which, come to think of it, that would be heel versus heel. But there's just so many matches that you realistically can't see with a cowering heel babyface like The Miz. I'm tired of it. He cuts great promos, but he's been cutting great promos for like 3 years now. I'm tired of it. It's to the point where we need an Intercontinental Champion who can actually work in that ring, and that is not Roman Reigns. We need the Intercontinental Champion to be a babyface, and that is Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor should have won the Intercontinental Championship a while back, and it looks like WWE is on that path now, and I absolutely applaud them for it. The Miz, he can handle himself, I'm sure of it, with the way he's been working without the championship around his waist. I'm sure that Finn Balor, whether it's heel or babyface, will do better than whatever The Miz is doing right now, because by now I'm tired of what we're seeing between The Miz as the Intercontinental Champion. It feels repetitive, it feels tiresome, and you can do a lot better. Even with the feud like Finn Balor and Seth Rollins just as a singles, that looks way better than whatever The Miz is doing. But that is besides the point. For right now, like I said, Finn Balor, I believe, should win this matchup, draft Rollins to SmackDown after WrestleMania, and have Finn Balor do what he is meant to do, and that is put on great matches. I feel like this could be a matchup, a dark horse matchup, that could steal the show, and hopefully Finn Balor wins the Intercontinental Championship. Hopefully he comes out as the Demon King at WrestleMania as well. There's been no mention of that, but we have not seen the Demon King for a very, very long time on WrestleMania. And that I feel is an absolute travesty. Anyways, we move on here. And we move on here to Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This is going to be one of the best matchups at WrestleMania. Not because of anything they do in the ring. Not because of the amazing match quality we're going to be seeing between Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Daniel Bryan, but because of the investment and the build that there is in this matchup. It's Daniel Bryan making his return to a wrestling ring. It's months of teasing between Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. The storyline has been handled to near perfection. We gave up on this storyline. We gave up on this storyline for a long time because we were saying we're not going to see the end result. And we are not going to see what we want to see, and that is Daniel Bryan returning to the ring. It's just not going to happen. Lo and behold, WWE surprises the hell out of us. They announce on a random Tuesday before WrestleMania that Daniel Bryan has been cleared to medically return to the ring, and that opens the floodgates for a bunch of dream matches. But as far as what we're looking at concerned here, as far as WrestleMania goes, this is going to be great stuff. Whether or not you're going to have Shane McMahon in the ring for most of this matchup or not, I'm not even sure, because of course WWE said that Shane McMahon went down with a hernia and diverticulitis. That was just 2 weeks before this very show, WrestleMania. So is Shane McMahon even going to be able to compete in this matchup, or is he going to be spending most of the time in the apron? Did WWE farly exaggerate the symptoms of Shane McMahon? That's what I'm starting to think, because he was on Smackdown Live and he was looking absolutely fine. He'd hold his stomach a couple times, but he was looking like Shane McMahon. Like Shane McMahon. He might not be able to do the high spots that he usually does, but it looks like that bodes good news for us, because we're going to be seeing more of Daniel Bryan in the ring. It looks like WWE's original plan was to clear Daniel Bryan for this matchup, but have Shane McMahon do most of the work, and maybe Daniel Bryan will be in there for 2 minutes after a hot tag. The crowd erupts. He does the yes kicks and the drop kicks, the running drop kicks in the corner, and hits the knee and beats Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Speaking of, that is definitely what's going to happen here. It's going to be Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon coming out with the victory here. I know that sounds odd. Shane McMahon winning on WWE television. Well, this is going to be one of those rare occasions, ladies and gentlemen. He hasn't won a match since returning to the WWE in 2016. That was January of 2016. This is probably going to be his first win. Something that I have actually heard rumored is that Shane McMahon would turn heel on Daniel Bryan, and that would allow Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to win. Maybe Daniel Bryan could beat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and Shane McMahon turns heel after the matchup. I'm not sure, but that's something that has been very, very heavily rumored on WrestleMania 34, and that would be an interesting twist. It'd give Daniel Bryan something to do after WrestleMania 34 in singles matches against Kevin Owens, against Sami Zayn, possibly even against Shane McMahon. That's before he inevitably goes into WWE Championship feuds. So that gives him something to do before, like a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series or even a Royal Rumble, where he would inevitably go on to challenge like a Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. So that's an interesting idea, but I would go with the clean-cut finish here. Have Daniel Bryan get his big WrestleMania moment. I don't see Daniel Bryan losing his big return to the ring. I just don't see it happening. I don't think WWE would be that stupid as far as to do that. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this matchup. This is one of the matchups that I am most excited for. It will be one of the best matchups at WrestleMania, of course, besides AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, because, I mean, the build, the investment, and that's exactly what I was mentioning to you in the beginning. When you're invested in something, even though we're not going to be seeing the most amazing thing within the ring, when you're invested in something, it brings it up a notch, and that's exactly what storytelling has done for like NXT in the past, and that's exactly what storytelling is going to do for this matchup. Daniel Bryan making his in-ring return at WrestleMania 34. I'm absolutely excited for it, and for now, we move on here to the next matchup on this preview and predictions video, and that, of course, would be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. We're going to talk about John Cena versus The Undertaker last. But as far as Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar goes for the Universal Championship, I've been very critical of this feud, because most of this feud has been WWE shoving Roman Reigns down our throats. And this is something that they've been doing for 4 years now. So I'm absolutely sick and tired of it at this point. And there's one way this matchup can realistically be saved at WrestleMania 34, and we're going to talk about that. But as far as the build to this matchup goes, you've had WWE transition from trying to do multiple things with Roman Reigns. You've had WWE try to get sympathy behind Reigns. You've had WWE try to get all these types of things behind Roman Reigns. He was handcuffed by U.S. Marshals, not just normal security guards, U.S. Marshals. And Brock Lesnar came out and attacked him. Only then did Brock Lesnar come out to Monday Night Raw. WWE had him stay home for multiple Monday Night Raws. WWE even went to the far extremes to have Vince McMahon appear on Monday Night Raw and suspend suspend Roman Reigns. There's been multiple inaccuracies. You've had Roman Reigns come out in his in-ring gear when he was suspended. You had 1 week after the suspension was lifted, he came out through the crowd again, like if he was some type of badass. They've gone from trying to make him look like a sympathetic babyface to a badass. You've had Paul Heyman talk him up on the mic week after week. You've never seen a one-on-one confrontation between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman on the microphone, because that's where Roman Reigns would be verbally destroyed. And they've pretty much done everything to protect him. They've given him every crutch. He's been able to curse. He's been able to do whatever the hell he wants, and that is absolutely pathetic. I have no doubt these two men are probably going to put on a great physical matchup at WrestleMania 34. But it's all about the end result. And the end result is going to kill this matchup, because at the end of the day, it's going to be Roman Reigns hitting a Superman punch. And it's been rumored that he's only going to hit one spear on Brock Lesnar, and he's going to beat Brock Lesnar. So everything that you have been building for a year, Brock Lesnar beating all these opponents with one F5, Brock Lesnar absolutely dominating the Universal Championship scene for a year. He hasn't been on Monday Night Raw for most of that time. He only wrestled like 60 minutes in 2017. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But you've been building all this crap up just to get to the end result, which we knew was coming from WrestleMania 33. The minute WrestleMania 33 was over, you foresaw the WrestleMania 34 main event. You not only saw the WrestleMania 34 main event of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, but you foresaw the ending, and it was Roman Reigns winning the Universal Championship to a chorus of boos. And I'll give it to WWE. They've done a lot of work to prevent Roman Reigns from getting boos, and there have been certain towns like Dallas, I believe, and Atlanta just this past week on the Go Home show that have actually cheered him more than booed him. But it's going to be that smarky crowd in New Orleans, and it's going to come to the realization that the visual of Roman Reigns holding up the Universal Championship, possibly to end WrestleMania in the main event, is not a visual that they want to see. And it's going to be absolutely disgusting. And that brings me to the finish that can absolutely save this matchup. And we all know that Brock Lesnar is going to be leaving the WWE after this matchup is over, which makes the ending even more predictable. They've even been talking about him going back to UFC. It would be an absolute miracle if Brock Lesnar resigned. I at the very least expect him to sign maybe a contract for another month, for a couple more dates maybe, but I do not see Brock Lesnar being in the WWE past maybe SummerSlam 2018. He's going back to the UFC if Brock Lesnar is doing anything at all. And just the easiest way to prevent the boos, to turn this all good, to end the frustration with 4 years of this Roman Reigns initiative, is to have Roman Reigns turn heel. And the best way to do that is to have Brock Lesnar, or Paul Heyman, I should say, turn on Brock Lesnar in the matchup. Have Paul Heyman do something that screws Brock Lesnar over, and have that be what gets Roman Reigns the victory. Make the Roman Reigns heel turn, because it will divert all of that heat, all of that hate that Roman Reigns gets into the proper reaction. And the proper reaction, of course, is to turn this guy heel and take that heel heat that he gets and put it into a monstrous heel run, because that will make it so the fans will respect the work of Roman Reigns as a heel, because Roman Reigns is more deserving of being the top heel in the WWE than he ever is going to be being the top babyface of the WWE. And that is proved by the fact that Daniel Bryan has returned to the ring. Daniel Bryan is going to overshadow the hell out of Roman Reigns. He is the top face of the WWE. That is what Daniel Bryan is. And as far as Roman Reigns goes, he is none of that. So turn him heel. Go towards the massive program that would be a heel Roman Reigns versus a babyface Daniel Bryan. That's what you got to do, WWE. That's what I would do. That's what I want to happen. Will it happen? I absolutely doubt it. I see Roman Reigns remaining heel, or babyface, I should say, and it's an absolute travesty. But what are you going to do about it? This match is going to end the WrestleMania, and we're going to end WrestleMania with a chorus of boos. WWE, I hope you enjoy what you're getting. And that brings us to the final matchup that we're going to talk about here on part 1. That, of course, has to do with John Cena and The Undertaker. And there's not much to say about this matchup, if I'm being completely honest with you. I mean, the build has been absolutely great, and it's because John Cena has been great on the microphone. They're still keeping us in the dark on whether or not this matchup is going to happen. If you have a brain, you know that this matchup is happening. There's no doubt about it. You're going to have John Cena, like he said in all his promos, come to WrestleMania as a fan. He's going to be cutting a promo in the crowd, and that's going to signal The Undertaker to come out. They're going to do some big spot, and The Undertaker's going to come out. The one thing that's confirmed pretty much from this feud is that The Undertaker is not retiring this year. If he has not come out and stated that this is going to be a retirement versus retirement matchup against John Cena, then I doubt that WWE is going to have Undertaker just have this be his last matchup with little to no word said, with little to no advertisement. It hasn't even been advertised that we're going to see John Cena versus The Undertaker, and I'm glad that that hasn't been advertised because WWE is showing faith in the performers that they already have on the show, the Reigns, the Styles, the Nakamura's, to sell the show. Of course, the Ronda Rouseys, which we will discuss in the next video, but I mean, John Cena versus The Undertaker, it's been built to masterfully by John Cena. John Cena, besides the matches that he's had on Raws as of late against Goldust and Kane, which sounds super exciting, has been calling out The Undertaker for weeks to no response. He's called The Undertaker every name in the book, a coward, a watered down veteran. Everything that he has said about The Undertaker has not triggered The Undertaker to come out. There's been rumors of The Undertaker coming out as the American Badass. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case because he of course left his ring in the gear, in the gear in the ring, if I could speak here. Holy crap. So it's going to be interesting to see what WWE does with this scenario. The fact that Undertaker hasn't come out means this will not be a career versus career match unless they do something at WrestleMania where Taker takes the mic and says, that's what this is going to be. This is not going to be the main event of WrestleMania. And I think that's good because it deserves to go to a Styles or Nakamura. It deserves to go to a Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match where the said ending is Roman Reigns turning heel at the end of it. But that is besides the point. As far as the quality of the matchup goes, I believe that the quality of this matchup isn't going to be good at all. But again, what's going to push this matchup over the edge is going to be the fact that we are invested in what we are going to see in the ring. The Undertaker at 52, 53 years of age is not going to put on his best matchup. John Cena is no ring general, and The Undertaker is no ring general anymore. So we're not going to see the best matchup in the world. We're not even going to see a good matchup. This matchup might be terrible for all we know. What we've seen between The Undertaker and Roman Reigns last year was absolutely god-awful. But as far as this matchup goes, it's been built to wonderfully. The promos of John Cena have been probably the best in his career, and I cannot wait to see what these two guys do at WrestleMania, how WWE brings The Undertaker in, because that is truly going to be a WrestleMania moment in and of itself. I'm glad that I'm coming here and able to talk about this matchup in a more positive light, because quite frankly, it looked like WWE was going to make this another just missable Undertaker program going into WrestleMania. The way they have handled this has been great with this storyline that John Cena has not been able to get this matchup at WrestleMania, that he's lost at the Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, he lost the Six-Pack Challenge on the way of Smackdown Live, he lost to Reigns earlier in the year, he's lost at the Survivor Series, he has not earned a WrestleMania match, he doesn't want to get in the way of anybody else's opportunity at WrestleMania. The only thing he has left to do is call out The Undertaker and create that WrestleMania moment. And I'm glad that instead of wrapping up the story of The Undertaker, WWE is going to wrap up the story of John Cena getting this WrestleMania matchup, because that's truly the story that we have been seeing unfolded. It's not the storyline that I expected to see unfolded, but quite frankly, it's turned out to be something very, very good, and I cannot wait to see this matchup at WrestleMania 34, just due to the build alone. Just due to the build alone. And that just goes to show you what a build will do for a matchup at WrestleMania. And, I mean, it just ties back to the beginning of the video. And with that, that's where we're going to end part 1 of your WrestleMania 34 preview and predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed each and every single thing that you heard here on part 1 of your WrestleMania 34 preview and predictions. Just part 1 alone went 60 goddamn minutes. Holy crap. What the hell are we going to do in part 2? Well, find out. I'll probably post this an hour or two later. I'm recording this back to back, of course. But that is besides the point, because for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want, of course, you guys to make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Raw reviews, Smackdown reviews, pay-per-view reviews, WrestleMania 34 review coming, NXT TakeOver New Orleans review coming, as well as Behind the Mic this coming Sunday. Make sure to like, make sure to dislike if you don't like me, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, and of course, make sure to click on that notification bell, because for now, this is going to be all for Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. For now, I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I'll see you in part 2 of your WrestleMania 34 preview and predictions.